I guess you can sort of break down into more general and narrow AI. So like in the early days being like, as von Neumann and Turing would have like conversations about this back in the 30s and 40s, and they would try and talk about things. These digital machines didn't even exist yet, but they were starting to already wrestle with the idea, could machines replicate human behavior and thought? And so that's the idea of AI. And so I guess we're a very optimistic bunch. So we've always been saying since about 45 or so, in 10 years, we're going to get AI. And every 10 years, we revise that to 10 more years and we'll have it. And eventually around like the 60s or 70s, people started to get a little more realistic and said, okay, it ain't coming. Let's sort of bring our expectations down a bit. So rather than trying to replicate all of human behavior and consciousness and thinking, let's just have machines or programs that can learn certain tasks and become better at it. So that approach, that more narrow approach, ended up being a lot more effective. And so that permeates a lot of the things that you see and utilize every day. And about 10 years ago, there was an interesting sort of transformation. My background's neurobiology. There was another guy that was in computer science, much smarter than me, also neurobiology background, and started to think neural networks had been around for a while because neurons are kind of easy to replicate. You get a little perceptron and you kind of talk about it. You're okay, that's easy. Then people started to build networks with them and it was okay, but it didn't go anywhere until about 10, 12 years ago. Computing power was at a certain place, and this guy, Yann LeCun, started to look at how neural networks work in vision, especially, and he started to replicate that idea, and these deep neural networks now are crazy. So all the stuff you see with deep fakes and like voice recognition, you might remember like 10 years ago when you called up some system, you'd have to say, please give me your social security number. And you'd say, blah, blah, blah. And you'd say, please say yes if you want to do this or no. And that was the extent of the interaction. And now you've got Siri, Alexa, Google, and you can interact with them normally. A lot of that advance is because of these neural networks. And these neural networks are going a little nuts. And they're also giving us some insight now into this more general problem of AI. So I'd say AI, pervasive in the sense of machine learning, that's just about everywhere. That benefits almost any field in any organization and any business. General AI, in 10 years, we'll have it.